transitioning children? Can it be to Christianity?
The thing I find so funny about this guy is that he is always so proud while also making himself look so stupid. Because what he is revealing is that he's not actually concerned about the indoctrination of children. Because if it's just simply what he already believes, then that's okay. It was this exact hypocrisy that I aimed to highlight in my story, Love the Way God Intended. Here's an abbreviated version of that story. Mrs. Estrada joined the back of the line for security. When she reached the front, she set the box of books on the conveyor belt. When the box of books reached the other side, a security guard grabbed the top book, eyeing it. "These books received approval?" he asked. "Yes, sir." Mrs. Estrada pulled the signed paperwork from her pocket and handed it over. The security guard looked through the paperwork, checking the legitimacy of the signatures from the school board, principal, and state governor. When Mrs. Estrada got into her classroom, she kept the door locked, the blinds drawn, and the lights off. Relying on feel and faint outlines, she made her way to the back table, where she gently set down the box of books. Carefully, she removed each book and set them down in front of her. Each book had upon it a picture of a young boy and a young girl holding hands. Written in big, bold letters was the title of the book, Love, the Way God Intended. A raving review from the nation's most popular news organization called the book a triumph for American society and future generations. After the morning prayers had been spoken over the loudspeaker, Mrs. Estrada introduced the class to their new book by reading from the script provided to her by the school board. Love the Way God Intended, she read, is a monumental novel taking the nation by storm for the morality it strives to return to American households. This story serves as a much-needed blueprint for how love and relationships should look in a society too often deceived by the devil and his advocates. She ordered the students to open their books to page 7. Once everyone had made it to the proper page, she began reading, and they all followed along. Except for a certain 4 who found within not a copy of Love the Way God Intended, like the dust jacket in Mrs. Estrada's instruction implied, but rather an entirely different book. We do not all love the same, and that's okay. This was not the first time these 4 students had been assigned a book unlike the others, so they were not surprised to find that their books began on a completely different page, and included words that did not match what Mrs. Estrada read to the rest of their classmates. These students, like their books, were not like the others. They had souls that had been banned from the state where their bodies dwelled. Nor did their souls align with the world propagandized in the book that the school board demanded Mrs. Estrada read. In the simplest of terms, they did not love in the way that God intended. They did not present themselves to the world in the way their politicians preferred. They did not. The doors to the classroom opened, and in walked 3 police officers. "Random search," one of them declared. If you would like to hear the rest of the story, my book, The Crumbling of a Nation and Other Stories, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the TikTok Shop, and Audible.